Queen Elizabeth was really the first monarch we've ever had, I think, who did not impose her own likes or dislikes or opinions on the role. And I think that is one of the reasons why she was sort of universally loved.
Yesterday, I was struck by how many TV stations had on their breaking news banner, "The Queen dies." No qualification as to which Queen was needed. And she's sort of secured this extraordinary place in history. So let's reflect on that a bit now with two historians and Times writers. Sir Max Hastings. Good morning, Max. Max is there. And we've got Ben Macintyre as well. Morning, Ben.
Good morning. Hi, Matt.
Max, put the Queen in the context of sort of the broader sweep of history, if you can. I mean, so much history as we see it is unfolded in the past 70 years of her time on the throne. But your reflections on her place in history for us. I'm not sure Max can hear us. Ben, your reflections first of all. And I was struck thinking this morning. Yes, she's our longest-serving monarch, but, I mean, how will she be remembered in, 100, 200, 300 years' time, having not invaded anywhere, having not chopped anyone's head off, having, in fact, even on the back of the Times today, that quote from her speech in 957, "I cannot lead you into battle, I did not give you laws or administer justice, but I can give you something else. I can give my heart, my devotion to these old islands." How does she compare to other kings and queens?
Matt, I think she'll be the emblem of an entire age. I mean, that's the extraordinary thing, is she's not going to be remembered for any one particular thing. I think that's exactly right. But she's going to be remembered for a sort of an entire century almost. I mean, it is an incredibly long time. I went back actually to look at the way that the Times had reported the birth of the Queen back in 1926. And it's just a tiny one-line sentence. It says, "The Duchess of York was safely delivered of a princess at 2:40 this morning." Now, that was, of course, because nobody had any idea what the future was going to hold and that she would one day be queen. But it was such a different world there. I mean, the whole paper gives you a sense of a completely different era. I mean, it was all, the reporting of the royal family then was completely deferential. It was demure. It was discreet. Far more space was given on that day to a strange debate in the Times letters page about whether you could have a four-tusked elephant. So it's
good to know the Times letters page hasn't changed. But it's interesting point you make, though, Ben. A time of probably greater reverence and respect, deference to the royal family back when the Queen was born. And that's clearly changed over time. And yet the hullabaloo we'd have now about a royal baby of some distance from the line of succession, it's a weird thing, isn't it? And it's so less deference, possibly, but probably greater interest.
Isn't that fascinating?
The royal family is sort of showbiz as well as the constitution and all of that.
Well, this was the balancing act that she pulled off absolutely brilliantly, was that at a time of mounting fascination with the royal family and inquisitiveness and curiosity and invasion, if you like, she in some ways became more distant, not distant exactly, but somehow it was what Bagehot called the magic of royalty, was this sort of the sense that it lived in another world. And I've always been struck by the fact that we actually know very little about the Queen's personality. I mean, she was absolutely part of everybody's daily life, but we have no idea really what she liked or disliked, what she had for breakfast. We've no idea what she read. We don't know what she liked to watch. And I think that was completely deliberate on her part. She sort of cultivated a kind of, it was never an aloofness, but it was a kind of unknowability, if you like. Whereas, one of the main charges that are leveled against the younger generation, particularly against Harry and Meghan, is that we know far too much about them, that they are far too willing to share their feelings and their thoughts. Queen Elizabeth was really the first monarch we've ever had, I think, who did not impose her own likes or dislikes or opinions on the role. And I think that is one of the reasons why she was sort of universally loved. We don't know really what she thought. She loved dogs and horses and her family and the nation and her role in it. But what she was actually like remained rather mysterious. And I think that is going to be fascinating. And one of the things that's really facing King Charles III is the extent to which he allows his own interests, including his own political beliefs and opinions, to frame the monarchy. And that's going to be
very tricky, I think, in some ways. I mean, lots of ways, but we'll see what happens.
It's interesting, the point that you made. It's such a weird thing, isn't it? Her refusal to let us know anything that she thinks or anything like that. It sort of made her the monarch fit for the Twitter age. Because, you know, so much of today's sort of public discourse and political debate is, well, I disagree with that, so therefore they must be your edge. But actually, part of her appeal is that there was nothing to offend, if you like, in terms of, you know, rather than taking sides on particular issues. And that's maybe why she's even more revered now than, you know, in recent times, if you go sort of further back into history.
I think that's absolutely right. And I think she, you know, but for a very few occasions about which I understand she was pretty cross, we don't know what she believed about the great events of the day, which is why those conversations between her and the 15 prime ministers that she knew are such a fascinating source of speculation. I've often wondered whether there wasn't somebody brilliantly taking notes in the background. I really wish there were, because those must have been the very few occasions when she could give vent to opinion if she really wanted to. And only once or twice in history have we actually discovered what was said in there. I mean, I think the other reason for that is also that we got her as a queen so young. You know, she was 25 when she came to the throne. She really was a child, virtually, as Winston Churchill described her. And so therefore, in a way, she was a kind of tabula rasa on which the nation could imprint its own expectations and beliefs. It's very different today. I mean, Prince now King Charles is already in some ways a fairly elderly figure. We know him quite well. We never knew the Queen before she came to the throne, really. And the same is going to be true of William and George. I mean, the actuarial calculations are that, you know, William will be in his 60s before he wears the crown, and George is likely to be even older. So we will know these people. And I guess one of the questions is the extent to which they are prepared to let us know them, and the extent to which they have to be careful not to let us know them. And that's a really difficult balancing act, I think.
Ben Macintyre, really fascinating to speak to you. I know you've got a busy day. You're writing for the Times as well tomorrow. Ben Macintyre, thanks very much for joining us on Times Radio.